he never heard the word no. Money wasn't something he earned. It was something that simply existed. But he didn't know that life was about to teach him a lesson he couldn't buy. The easy life. He was born into comfort. Not the kind of comfort most people dream about. The kind most people will never experience. A mansion on the hill, luxury cars in the driveway, private school, designer clothes, vacations that felt like scenes from a movie. But to him, it was normal. From the very beginning, he never heard the word no. If he wanted something, he got it. If he lost interest, it was replaced. If he made a mistake, someone else fixed it. Money wasn't something you earned. Money was something that simply existed. And because of that, he never respected it. His father, however, was a different man. He built everything from nothing. Long nights, failed deals, loans, risks that could have destroyed everything. But the son never saw that version of his father. He only saw the success, the polished shoes, the powerful meetings, the confident smile. He thought wealth was permanent. He thought comfort was guaranteed. As he grew older, his lifestyle became louder. Expensive watches, late-night parties, friends who laughed a little too hard at his jokes. He paid for everything. Dinners, trips, gifts. People admired him, but not for who he was, for what he had. And deep down, he didn't even realize it. Every month he received money in his account. No questions asked, no explanation required. He spent it as if it would never end. Why would it? His father owned one of the biggest companies in the city. Success felt automatic. But what he didn't understand was this. The business didn't run on magic. It ran on stress, on responsibility, on employees depending on leadership, on decisions that could either build or destroy lives. His father carried that weight every single day. And every single night, he wondered the same thing. What will happen when I'm gone? The son avoided the office. Whenever his father suggested he visit the company, he made excuses. It's boring. I have plans. I'll learn later. Later. That word became his shield. He believed there would always be time, but time was quietly shaping him. His friends started calling him lucky. You don't have to worry about anything. You've already won in life. And he believed them. He thought struggle was for other people. Hard work was optional. Responsibility was something older men dealt with. He was young. He was rich. He was untouchable. One evening at a luxury restaurant, he spent more money in a single night than some families earned in a month. He laughed. He ordered more. He didn't even look at the bill. Across the city at that same moment, a father was calculating how to pay salaries on time. Two different worlds, connected by one family name, but separated by understanding. His father wasn't angry. He was disappointed. Not because of the money, but because of the mindset. He saw comfort slowly turning into arrogance, privilege turning into weakness, and he knew something had to change. Because if nothing changed, the easy life would become a hard future. The son believed he had everything, but he was missing the one thing that makes everything meaningful: value. And very soon, he was about to learn it the hard way. The next morning felt different. No warning, no long lecture, just one simple sentence from his father.
Get ready, we're going somewhere.
The son assumed it was a business meeting. Maybe a new investment. Maybe something impressive. He wore his best watch, his cleanest shoes. But when the car stopped, he frowned. This wasn't the business district. They were in the poorest part of the city. Narrow streets, faded buildings, cracked sidewalks. No luxury cars, no security guards, no polished glass towers. Just people. Real people. His father stepped out first. The son hesitated, then followed. As they walked, he noticed something uncomfortable. A man carrying heavy bricks under the burning sun. A woman selling vegetables for a few dollars. Children helping their parents instead of playing. No one complained. No one stopped. They just worked. For the first time in his life, he saw what survival looked like. Not in a documentary, not on social media, in front of him. A boy about his age pushed a cart full of scrap metal. Sweat covered his face. His clothes were worn. Their eyes met for a second. There was no jealousy in the boy's eyes, just determination. And that made the son feel small. His father finally spoke. "Do you see them?" The son nodded quietly. "They wake up before sunrise. They don't know if they'll earn enough today, but they work anyway." No anger in his father's voice, just truth. They entered a small workshop. Inside, men were fixing machines manually. No air conditioning, no comfort. One worker smiled at them and said, "We're grateful to have work, sir." Grateful. The word echoed in his mind. He had everything, yet he was never grateful. On the drive back home, the car was silent. No music, no phone scrolling, just thoughts. The city outside the window looked different now. Every worker at a traffic light, every delivery rider, every construction site. He started noticing effort, something he had never noticed before. His father finally broke the silence. "Tell me what you learned today." The son swallowed. He didn't have a clever answer. After a long pause, he said quietly, "I didn't know." That was the first honest sentence he had spoken in a long time. That night, he couldn't sleep. The expensive bed felt uncomfortable. The silence in his large room felt heavy. For the first time, luxury didn't feel powerful. It felt unearned. He remembered the boy with the cart, the worker who said, "grateful." He thought about how easily he spent money. And suddenly, it didn't feel impressive anymore. Something had shifted. Not dramatically, not perfectly, but deeply. The easy life was starting to crack. And through that crack, reality was entering. The next morning, his father called him into the office. No smile, no anger, just a decision. And that decision would change everything. Because seeing struggle was only the beginning. Living discipline was next. The next morning, his father didn't take him to a poor neighborhood. He took him somewhere far more uncomfortable. The company headquarters. The building he had avoided for years. He expected something respectable. Maybe a small office. Maybe a managerial title. At least some recognition. After all, it was his father's company. But his father had other plans. They walked past the executive floor, past the glass offices, past the boardroom, down to a lower level. Smaller desks, old computers, stacks of files. His father stopped beside an empty chair in the corner. "You'll sit here." The son looked confused. And do what? "Check these documents. Find mistakes. Correct them." That was it. No title, no announcement, no special treatment. Just work. The first day felt endless. The documents were repetitive, numbers blurred together. His back hurt from sitting too long. No one treated him like the boss's son. They treated him like an employee, and that hurt his pride more than anything else. At lunch, he sat alone. For years, he had been surrounded by people at expensive tables. Now he sat in a simple cafeteria, listening, watching. Workers discussing deadlines, complaining about pressure, laughing about small victories. He realized something uncomfortable. These people earned their place here. He hadn't. On the third day, he made a mistake. A small one, but it caused extra work for someone else. The supervisor corrected him calmly. Double check next time. No fear, no special respect, just accountability. For the first time in his life, he felt responsible. The days became structured. Wake up early, arrive on time, focus, repeat. There were no late-night parties now, no careless spending. He was too tired. And strangely, that tiredness felt different. It wasn't emptiness, it was effort. One evening, after everyone had left, he stayed behind to finish correcting a stack of files. No one told him to. He just didn't want to leave it incomplete. When he finally finished, he leaned back in his chair. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't impressive. But it was earned. And that feeling felt better than any luxury purchase he had ever made. Weeks turned into months. He began understanding processes, how one mistake could affect dozens of employees, how delays could cost thousands of dollars, how leadership required discipline. He started asking questions, not because he had to, because he wanted to understand. People began noticing the change. He listened more, spoke less, worked harder. The arrogance slowly faded. In its place came focus. His father watched quietly. He never praised him openly, but he observed something important. His son no longer wanted shortcuts. He wanted progress. One afternoon, a colleague thanked him for catching an error that saved the company money. It was a simple thank you, but it meant more than applause at a party. Because this time, respect wasn't bought. It was earned. The easy life was no longer easy. It was structured, disciplined, demanding. But inside him, something stronger was growing. Confidence. Not from wealth, from work. And soon, he would be tested in a way that would prove whether this change was temporary or real. Months had passed. The young man who once avoided responsibility was now the first to arrive at the office. No one reminded him anymore. No one pushed him. Discipline had become a habit. He no longer worked just to prove something to his father. He worked because he understood something deeper. Every decision affected people. Employees had families. Deadlines had consequences. Mistakes had costs. For the first time, he felt the weight of leadership, and he didn't run from it. One day, his supervisor handed him a small project. Handle this client file yourself. It wasn't a major deal, but it was responsibility. He reviewed every detail, checked every number twice, prepared carefully before presenting it. When the client approved it smoothly, he didn't celebrate loudly. He simply smiled, because this time, success felt different. It wasn't inherited. It was earned. Weeks later, something unexpected happened. A small crisis hit the company. A delayed shipment, an angry client, a tight deadline. Normally, he would have stepped back, but this time, he stepped forward. He stayed late, coordinated with the team, solved problems one by one. The issue was resolved, not perfectly, but responsibly, and that mattered. His father had been watching, quietly, carefully, not looking for perfection, looking for growth. One afternoon, his father called him upstairs, to the executive floor, the same floor he once walked past without caring. Now it felt heavier, more serious. They stopped in front of an empty office, glass walls, a clean desk, a nameplate waiting to be placed. His father opened the door. "This is yours." The son stood still. No excitement, no arrogance, just silence. Because now he understood. An office wasn't a reward. It was a responsibility. His father finally spoke. "I didn't give you this because you're my son." A pause. "I'm giving it to you because you earned it." Those words meant more than any gift he had ever received. For the first time in his life, he felt proud of himself. Not for his wealth, not for his last name, but for his effort. The easy life hadn't disappeared. The wealth was still there. The comfort still existed. But now it had meaning, because he understood what it took to build it and what it would take to protect it. He once believed success was automatic. Now he knew success is heavy, responsibility is earned, and respect is never free. The easy life didn't make him strong. The hard lessons did. And that was the real inheritance. And so, our story comes to an end for tonight. I hope it brought you peace and a little bit of magic. If you enjoyed this journey, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, sleep well and sweet dreams.